Welcome back to the P.H.Y.S Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. Today I sit down with photographer, filmmaker, and writer Megan Costello. Megan is a visual storyteller whose work lives where culture, movement, creativity, and the ocean all come together. Megan has photographed campaigns for global brands like Quiksilver, Billabong, and SisstrEvolution, while creating editorials featured in publications including the New York Times and Vogue. Based on the North Shore of Oahu, Megan's personal work takes us deep into the world of big wave surfing across Australia and Hawaii, documenting the power, beauty, and spirit of women's surf and skate culture around the globe. From the shores of Byron Bay to New York City and beyond, her lens captures more than moments. It captures stories, energy, and real human connection. Today, we dive into creativity, storytelling, life behind the camera, the energy of the ocean, and what it means to build a life around passion and purpose. This is a conversation you won't want to miss. Welcome to the P.H.Y.S Podcast, where creativity, storytelling, and the human experience meet. Now let's get to the show.
Okay, perfect. So, hey everyone, stoked to be here. I'm Megan Costello. I'm a photographer from the East Coast. I actually grew up in Rhode Island. I mostly now live between Hawaii, Los Angeles, Byron Bay, depending on the season of life. And how I got into photography is kind of a long and funny story, so can maybe break it down. But basically, yeah, my photography journey started when I moved to New York City to intern for documentary photographer Mary Ellen Mark.
I know the name.
Yeah, her work is just incredible. I think it was a very luxurious lifestyle. I was making $10 a day, which I could buy like an apple in Soho.
You know what? I think you're selling yourself short. I think $10 a day in New York, you were living like a queen.
It's true. I was living the good life. But that's kind of where it all began. And I went from working for Mary Ellen Mark to assisting fashion photographers and producing fashion editorials for magazines from like Vogue to the New York Times. And I found myself in this high fashion world, which is just bizarre for someone who kind of wears the same outfit every day. So I started craving wildness and grittiness, and that is when I started shooting skateboarders in New York City. And skateboarders in New York City all happened to be surfing out in the Rockaways for the most part. So that is when the world of surfing was introduced to me. And I saw a photo of Pipeline on Pinterest and basically moved to Hawaii full time within a year of seeing that photo.
Wow. So, like, I don't know if you've listened to past episodes. Skateboarding was the biggest part of my life from the time I found a skateboard in an alleyway when I was 8 years old. And I rode nonstop until my early 30s. And then after that, I had injury after injury, and I broke my left ankle 9 times. So,
wow, that's got to be a record.
I don't think so. I have friends who've done it more, but that was when I realized, I'm a dad. I want to be able to pick my kids up. I don't want my ankle fused. So I started cutting back, and last December, my son was buying new snowboard gear, and they had like this perfect board with decks sitting there, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to grab that. So I have a new one. So this spring and stuff, I'm going to just start cruising the skate park just to carve.
Oh, sick.
Because I missed that feeling, and that's where I was searching for that creative outlet. I was searching for something to replace that feeling of skateboarding. Just going down the street, like the sidewalk and hitting the cracks in the sidewalk. Just that feeling, and that's what the shutter did.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So photography really came in when you needed a transition.
It came
from
late.
That deep love of skateboarding.
Yeah, it came. I didn't really pick up a camera seriously as like, I kind of have a talent for this, and people really seem to like what I do till 2019. So,
oh, wow.
It's 2025 now. So 6 years ago, so that would have made me 45.
Wow, that's so cool. So do you mostly shoot skateboarding?
No, I don't shoot any.
Or kind of a range? Oh, you don't shoot any? No.
No skateboarding
not
at all. I want to, but
yeah.
We'll get into it. I have a project that's starting in January that I think is pretty sick. So I'll get into it after we, later in the show. But
perfect.
You have that connection to skateboarding. And then I was wondering how, a girl on the East Coast got this love for surf photography. And then you mentioned Pipeline, you know, C Funk's backyard. She's like incredible, you know, and I just like Pipeline's no joke.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think like I'll be honest, I really surfing was not on my radar at all until I was like maybe 23. I just it never came into my life. And I always thought Hawaii was like just a place where people went for vacation. I just had no concept of the world of surfing in Hawaii, totally unaware. Um, and yeah, just like Pipeline, the rawness of it, the beauty, the color really drew me in. And I felt like such a calling to live in Hawaii. I know a lot of people feel this pull. And yeah, I just listened to it and it changed the whole trajectory of my life for the better. So it's one of those like magical moments.
Yeah, I could imagine. It's like for skateboarders, it was California. You had to make it to California. That was, you got to California, that's where everything started.
Yeah, yeah.
And surfers was always Hawaii.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
so you come up with this dream to move to Hawaii and you pack your bags and you move to Hawaii. Now what?
Okay, so I'm a really go with the flow person. Like, yeah, there was a dream of spending time in Hawaii, but honestly, when I moved there, it was just an accident. I kind of headed out there with like $2,000 and just stayed there. I got really lucky and I got an in-house photography job for a swimwear brand out there, San Lorenzo Bikinis. And so I had enough money to support my life out there, which was very simple. And then I just, yeah, started shooting surfers, yeah, like Bethany Hamilton, Tia Blanco, some great women across like big wave surfing, and it was a trickle effect, but there was no planning. It was really like a go with the flow, and the universe provided. There were definitely hiccups, but it was all worth it in the end.
I can only imagine that, you know, you definitely got lucky by finding that in-house job.
Totally.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that jump at this dream and they don't get that luck. But I mean, I also believe that we have to make our own luck. I don't think, you know, we work hard and everything's going to happen in due time. It was just you had the perfect storm happen and you had that job lined up. That
Oh, this was like
amazing.
a miracle. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, this was probably the only like in-house photo apparel role that was out there. I think I just got lucky. Instagram was just sort of like starting to become popular, but it wasn't the powerhouse that it is today. Now I don't even think that role exists. I think it's been replaced with influencer marketing, but yeah,
Uh,
timing and luck is always a factor as well, for sure.
that influence marketing business drives me crazy. I just
I know it's a double-edged sword. I've worked in it, so I can't criticize it too much, but it has changed the industry for better and for worse,
yeah,
definitely.
I think what gets me though is I don't like the word influencer. Like everybody out there they're a creator. They're out there, they're creating a product. They're creating a marketing strategy that works. Like,
Yeah, totally.
you know, I think influencer is something you see some of the biggest people and they're never going to say they're a social media influencer. You know, they're a creator. But you see the
Yeah.
ones, I find the ones that throw around the influencer name are the ones that just want everything for free. They don't
Yeah,
want to work
that's
for
fair.
it, right? That's what I mean about that, hearing that word and I mean, you hustle for what you do, right? It'd be like calling someone like Peter McKinnon an influencer. That
Yeah.
man hustles for what he does. So you're in Hawaii, you're by pipeline, which incredible. Um, what happens after that?
Okay, I'm in Hawaii. I mean, it was just chaos pretty much as soon as I landed, like unstable housing scenario, cars breaking down everywhere. I rented a car on Craigslist, drove it across the island to start my first day of work. I couldn't get it started
Oh
to
no.
drive back home. The guy from Craigslist had to like send his friend on a motorcycle to drive me home. So that kind of stuff happened pretty much constantly, just the island testing you. I think it's all part of the process of moving out there. And then all of a sudden, I started working out there with this woman, Huguette, who has a magazine called Dysfunction Magazine. And she was putting together some really amazing editorial projects. So I started working with her. I was pretty much shooting at Pipe whenever it was breaking. Otherwise, I was shooting in Waikiki, just trying to meet everyone, getting like deeper into the industry there, pitching brands all the time, learning the art of recovering from rejection quickly.
That one's always fun, eh?
That one's always fun, but it's such a good tool to develop. And so I was out in Hawaii, and then it kind of like speed rolls into Australia and then into Los Angeles and now to where I am today. But basically, I was out in Hawaii. I got this huge tax return for some reason. I had like just enough money to go to Australia for about a month.
Uh-oh.
So I headed out to Byron Bay, first time ever. Always felt like a gut instinct to head out there. This was probably in like 2016. Fell in love with Australia, just completely enamored by it. So many cool female creatives out in Byron. Just amazing surfers to shoot with, just such a cool music scene, cool entrepreneur scene. Became obsessed with it, relocated to Australia. Mind you, I was still going to Oahu every winter. I've never missed a winter there except for one winter during COVID. Lived in Byron through COVID, and then needed a full-time job, moved to Los Angeles, started managing the Karayuma. I was hired to create like their first ever ambassador program and was managing like their surf team's social content, and started shooting for Billabong and Quiksilver.
Wow.
And then that kind of leads me to where I am today. Right now I'm in Lisbon, and I'm shooting Nazare this week, working with a really great surfer out here, and still shooting for Quiksilver and Billabong, and kind of living a nomadic lifestyle.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is inspiring. It shows like you jump after a dream and you put everything you have into it. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. You make it happen.
Totally.
Man, so Lisbon, eh? Rough.
It's a tricky life. I'm only here for a couple weeks, just kind of working on a short film and a photo project of this amazing athlete out here, Andrew Alexander King. He's surfing at Nazare.
And people who don't know Nazare is insane. Some of the biggest waves ever.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's probably the gnarliest wave in the world.
I was showing my wife the other day. I was like, you need to look at this wave. And she's like, oh yeah. I'm like, no, look closer. There's somebody surfing and they're like just this tiny speck. I can't even imagine what that feels like. I grew up on the Oregon coast, spending tons of my time on the Oregon coast. So I love the feel you get from when the waves are crashing. But I can't even imagine what that energy feels like to be in the vicinity of that.
Yeah. I can. I honestly, I went out like on a ski in the area, not even to Nazare, not to the break, just last week or the week before. And that was on like a 15 to 18 foot day. And the energy was so intense. I like going out on a bigger day. Yeah, that'll be very exciting.
And is that a Quiksilver project or a Billabong project?
This is just like an independent project. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
I'm just shooting this, Andrew Alexander King, and just shooting Nazare for portfolio for fun. Just kind of like veering away from just shooting warm water, big waves, and wanted to like test out doing a short winter period out here. So it's sort of like a pivot, a little side project.
Perfect. You threw in the pivot, and all I think of is that scene in Friends with the couch. So, I mean, you've done amazing amounts of work. You've worked with a ton of brands. I mean, you just mentioned you were in charge of an ambassador program. maybe give some insight on that, because there's a lot of people who listen. Like I'm a Harlow lighting ambassador.
Oh, cool.
So I'm lit by Harlow. That's what's right here.
Oh, sick.
But a lot of people think that being an ambassador is the easiest thing in the world to become. There's a lot that goes into representing a brand.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I can only speak to like my experience of what we had these ambassadors do.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, okay, this was, and I'll use the keyword that can be triggering, mostly an influencer-based program. So it was really like the intersection of professional athletes or semi-pro athletes who were also influencers, you know, like Kai Lenny, Jamie O'Brien, etc. And it really, yeah, I mean, you can be an ambassador and just use the product or just tag the brand in various posts. Our ambassadors at the time were creating content for us. So a lot of the social content was created by the athletes and influencers themselves, which made for really interesting, like authentic storytelling. So there's just a whole range of what an ambassador can be. But it's definitely a great way to get your foot in the door, even as a photographer, to become an ambassador for different like camera brands or whatnot. It's just a great way to make connections and build a community.
Oh, I agree, but it takes work. And you know, you mentioned names like I can't remember his last name. Kai's last name, Leone.
Kai Lenny, yeah.
Lenny, thank you. And Jamie O'Brien, like these guys have merit. Like they have put in the time, and they are some of the most well recognized and powerful surfers out there.
Oh, yeah.
My microphone's doing it again. I can hear it. It's driving me crazy.
We can take a pause if you need to.
No. Okay. I think we're okay.
Okay, sweet.
I'm just not sure why it's doing it. It's driving me nuts. But when you become an ambassador and you become kind of a face for a brand, like I know for me, for Harlow, I talk about the product. I loan the product out to film students, anybody who's doing shoots that needs constant lighting. I loan the gear to them, and then I get their feedback, right? And then I post about their feedback and their experience. I have an affiliate code, you know, that's how I get paid. So I can keep the show going while I work a full-time job and run a photo business. And it just really, you have to be all in. It's not something you can be like, okay, cool, I got the product, now I can forget about them.
Yeah, totally.
You know, so it's cool. It's cool that you have it. You have that experience. Like you've seen so many different realms of this industry.
Yeah, no, it's been really interesting to kind of do it as the creative and then also be in that space from a marketing perspective. Yeah, you learn a lot, and it gives you better tools to even promote yourself as an artist. I mean, social media and social media marketing is here to stay. So
yep.
The more creatives can learn about it and give in, the easier it will be.
It's not easy. Like I've been doing, I have a business coach and stuff now, and we're slowly going through the steps of how to promote the show even more, because this is something I want to do. You know, I don't want this to stop. I love doing this. But I also want to figure out how I can bring income in from it, and how I can branch off to doing things with voiceover work and other things like that in the industry. So I'm all over the place trying to figure it all out. And after a full-time day at work and you come home and then you have a full day, you know, at work in front of the computer, your brain goes, does it even matter? But it really does.
Totally. I mean, that perseverance is also just incredible, because it's easy to just say, oh, I'm too tired, I'll just, watch a movie instead of hustling.
I've been suffering with that lately, for sure, with editing. I've got so many to edit. I usually get up early in the morning and my alarm will go off, and I'll be like, you know what? Another couple hours of sleep would be way cooler. And I find myself hitting snooze for another hour. And
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
when I release every week, it's really stressful when you get to like Monday and you have 2 days to edit, upload, write, and record the intro and do all of this before it goes live.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I'm stressing I stress myself out. So it's one of those weird, you have all this time and you're like, oh yeah, I've got a week. And then you're like, oh no, I have a day. Which I'm sure you've run into in your many jobs you've done, going, oh yeah, I got lots of time. And then you're like, oh man, I have to have it submitted tomorrow.
I know deadlines are your best friend. I mean, we all struggle with procrastination. I love to give myself like unrealistic short timelines. Like, I mean, coming out with a show every week, that's pretty intense. And that forces you to keep pumping it out rather than taking any of those breaks and losing any momentum. So yeah, that's huge.
My first year, my goal was 52 episodes. My first year. And then October of 2024, I ended up in the hospital. I almost died.
Oh,
and
gosh.
I was ended up in the hospital for like 3.5 weeks.
Oh,
And
wow.
off work for 10 weeks. And I was like, I got home November 19th, and my 50th birthday was the next day. So I made it home for my birthday. That was the goal. And they were telling me I wasn't going to make it home. I was going to be there for 2 more weeks. And I'm like, no, like, I want to go home. I'm sick of sitting there. I was on isolation, and it all came from a staph infection.
Really?
Yeah. So I had a 2.5 millimeter,
scary.
2.5 millimeter saddle sore. I usually commute to work on my bike, and I got caught wearing jeans in the rain on the way home, and I just got a saddle sore. I didn't think anything of it. I've had hundreds of them. No big deal.
Wow.
And literally almost killed me. Like, it
Oh
was
my
bad.
gosh. Wow. Well, I'm glad that, wow, that's really scary. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It was eye-opening for sure. And now I'm very like, anybody tells me anything like that, I'm like, you better keep an eye on it, because it comes out quick and it's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that.
Infections and gnarly.
I came out in November. February 18th was the 1 year anniversary. And I had episodes recorded. So I just sat the best I could at my computer and just edited to hit that 52 goal. And I released it actually on the 1 year anniversary. So
Wow.
I made it.
Oh, congrats. That's huge.
And then this year I was like 15 episodes in, and I was like, you know what? If I only do 15 episodes this year, that's still pretty good. And then I was like, all right, time to get back in the lab. And I released, I think I've released like 30 episodes since then.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
Yeah.
these are things that people don't see on the outside, right? They see the, for you, they see you out, you're shooting surfing, you're in the ocean, you're shooting, bikini spreads, Quiksilver, Billabong. They don't see what you have to go through behind closed doors to make these things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're going to
Totally.
see and this is my favorite part. So I've had some amazing creatives on, and I say, so you've worked with this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand. You've made it now. And they all laugh, because they're all like, no, I hustled probably more now than I did before.
That's so true.
Yeah. So,
that's so accurate. You're never at the top of the mountain anyway.
It's just like everything though, it's pro surfing, pro skateboarders. There's a top 1% that are making a very good living. There's a lot of pro skateboarders who work at grocery stores or shoe stores just to make sure they have a steady income,
Totally.
And photographers have to do it too. Like, we're not all just getting the phones not ringing, being like, hey, we got this job for you. It's $100,000.
I know, that'd be so nice.
Right?
Can that please start happening?
Hey, you just put it out there. It might.
It's so true, though. Photography is such an interesting path, because it's not like, and this is not to knock any other professions, but it's not like a traditional path where, the school's laid out for you, what jobs to apply for, the jobs exist. You're inventing this path. And so nothing is laid out. You really just have to experiment, and you have to create your own opportunities, which I didn't even understand, at least until a couple years into it. Like I really truly thought there would be job descriptions like surf and swimwear photographer.
Just like a standard, you're on the help wanted section and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's me. But
totally.
you definitely have a unique look to your photos. Like you definitely have
Thank
your
you.
own style. And you have your own edit and your color profile you like to use. And I mean, I love it. I love the way it works really well with your style of capture. So the compositions you choose, out of all of the jobs you've done, do you have a favorite, one that just stands out as a moment where you were like, I can really do this?
Oh, this is a really good question. Yeah, I think one of my first big campaigns was for SisstrEvolution, and it was shooting Rose Machado, Rob Machado's daughter. And we were just like at this amazing set in Malibu. And I think that was the moment I thought, like, I'm getting paid like a really nice amount. This feels very exciting and sustainable. I think it was doing that campaign. So basically one of my first large scale campaigns. That's probably when it really kicked it off. But honestly, even when I first moved out to Hawaii and, I shot Bethany Hamilton, I think within like 3 months of arriving, and I hadn't shot much of surfing at all. So that was just like pretty out of this world. So I think that was also really exciting between those two.
I think, obviously, Rose Machado, Rob Machado's daughter, like, I mean, his legacy in surfing is insane, right?
Totally.
But also, if the people who don't know, you have to look into the story of Bethany Hamilton. If you want to see strength and perseverance and everything that you think when you should quit, her story will show you that you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. So that must have been mind blowing to get the call and be like, oh yeah, not to trip you out, but you're going to go shoot Bethany Hamilton like in Hawaii.
That was a little bit surreal, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think I remember going to that shoot. I had slept maybe a couple hours. All of these big shoots, I don't know if you're nervous the night before, but they always seem to land after like a period of unintentional sleep deprivation. But they always go really well. So maybe the sleep deprivation helps. But I know the location I had scouted. I always loved to shoot at this tree by rock piles. And so we were going to go meet at this tree for the shoot. We got there and I hadn't thought to check it the day before. Someone had like a fire and the tree had caught on fire. It was just like a burnt tree. I didn't say anything. I just kind of like reset up some props in an adjacent area and, pretended that it hadn't been a bit of a disaster, but
you just went for it. Like, but that's what
just
you have to do. Like you have to change on the fly. We really don't have a choice, right? We can do all these things that, we can be as prepared as humanly possible, but we have to also be prepared for it not working the way we want.
Exactly. Yeah, it really teaches you to be resourceful, and yeah, just like pivot as needed. And I think like the mind of a photographer, everywhere you look, you're seeing different backgrounds and how the subject can interact with them. So fortunately, it's like the flow state of the job. So when disasters like that happen, there's always like another 10 windows within like a 12-foot space. But I guess it's what keeps it exciting.
Yeah, I always say I shoot like I'm skateboarding. So like I used to go search for skate spots. That's how I shoot. I shoot different angles. I'm always lower than everybody else looking up. And it's really neat. Like I'll be driving in the car and like I always used to want to be the driver, but now I want to be the passenger all the time because that way I can search an area, especially if it's a new area that I haven't really been through. And you start looking for, I love gritty, grimy, old. Part of my passion for shooting came from shooting old barns that were dilapidated and falling down.
Oh, love that.
And I got tons of them where I live. So it's kind of like just when I'm in the passenger seat, you're like, okay, I could shoot that from this. And you start to look for, where the light's going to come through, how the shadows are going to lay. And it's fun. It's kind of like your own personal game as you're driving down the street.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can invent these little worlds within worlds as an
100%.
artist.
When you got into, don't mind me over here, I'm just trying to check something. So,
Oh no, go for it.
when you got into, no, that question doesn't work in my brain right now. Uh, can you go through kind of like maybe your flow, like what you do to create a project, to pitch a project, and kind of like once you get a project approved, what the next steps are, just to maybe give some of the listeners a little bit more interest and backstory of what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So, honestly, I'd say the majority of my photo work has been like regular contracts or in-house. So I haven't done as much of just like pitching various ideas, at least as of late. But earlier in my career, I would just pitch every brand I could think of, who I thought might want content of like pipe masters on, every December.
Yeah.
So I would just send them like a little deck and a few photos, and the budget that I was after and the amount of deliverables that they could expect. And then, often it's a no, but sometimes it's a yes, and then go out, shoot, deliver. But I, for the most part, have been, yeah, sort of regular projects. So a bit less pitching, but I definitely recommend anyone who's starting out to just pitch nonstop, cold emails, LinkedIn, even Instagram, just like coffee meetups, whatever you can do to get your foot in the door. Don't be afraid of rejection. Actually, just kind of learn to embrace it. I think like if I get rejected, I at least I'm at a point now where I just get even more motivated. So I think, yeah, learn to have like a different relationship with rejection and then get really creative with your pitching.
You can also do the small brands. They
Yeah,
do it.
exactly.
Sometimes you can work out a deal where they'll set, I know a lot of people say like product for work isn't the best way to do it, but sometimes getting paid by product, to see your work with a small brand going up, being utilized, is the step you need and the motivation you need to take your career to the next level.
Definitely. I mean, even a lot of like smaller brands still have a lot of great athletes on their roster. So, what I did earlier in my career was I'd pitch smaller brands, hey, I'd love to do a shoot with.
Problem solved.
Perfect.
Oh,
I can start. I can start that from the top. That's easier.
no, it's all. I think it's all good. I mean,
Okay, cool.
I try to keep it as real as possible. Like, I'm a dad. I have 6 kids. There's always something happening here. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
roll with
you're
it.
busy.
Yeah.
Totally.
And now the TV sitting behind me here just turned on by itself. So
Uh-oh.
it's a day. I tell you, this whole electronics game is not, it's not working in my favor today, I don't think. Oh, I love your
I know,
story.
it's funny
I love
how
your
that
journey.
goes.
I think it's inspiring. Like, it inspires me to see, like, I'm still fresh into this game. I'm still new. I created my niche with my voice and with this show. Does my microphone sound better now?
Oh yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, okay. I've been playing with the compressor as I'm sitting here trying to figure out why it was cutting. I have a deep voice, so it sometimes cuts off my and that's what I think that pausing was.
Yeah,
It's going
totally.
too low. But I'm inspired by your work. I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, I look at those things as like there's a ladder. There's steps for me to achieve. I don't look at it. I don't consider anybody competition. I have this whole thing. Yes, we all compete. There's healthy competition. I'll never badmouth somebody, and I will always congratulate somebody for getting a project, especially if we both went after it. I think that's
Yeah,
the coolest
totally.
thing. I've started using, a few years ago, I end everything with a hashtag community over competition, because to me,
Love that.
building a huge community of people that I can that we can all rely on. Like that whole group relies on each other. I've had people in my WhatsApp group go, hey, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. I need a second shooter. Anybody free? Anybody in the area? And they have 4 or 5 offers. Like,
Yeah.
if we can work together and uplift this industry that is so amazing, I think that's going to be such a difference from what we've seen over the last 10 years with people fighting and, talking crap to each other and just being rude in general.
Yeah, no, it's best to just keep it positive. It's more energizing to look at things from that perspective than to dwell on the negative or the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping things positive goes a long way.
100%. Question for you. In an industry that is predominantly male dominated and, they have the old boys club, there's, there must be a ton of struggle. You probably have to work substantially harder than a lot of the men who just kind of throw it in there. And then you have to deal with the looking down on you. Like, how'd you get this job? Because men's egos are very fragile. How do you deal with those scenarios, or what kind of advice can you give, my daughters who will listen and the other women that are listening when they come in contact with these situations?
Totally. Oh gosh, I almost feel like I'm not even a good person for this because I have just been blindly, blissfully oblivious to that part of the industry.
Well, that's good.
I think honestly, of course, there's a long way to go in terms of equality in tons of spaces. I do think, yeah, definitely there's boys clubs in surfing, but I actually think in terms of like sports that you could pick to focus on, surfing is relatively friendly for female creatives. Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement, but I don't think I've been, at least as a photographer, in too many directly sexist scenarios. I definitely remember when I moved out to Hawaii, there just weren't that many women in the lineup. And you just have to, you have to assert yourself, and just remember that you have just as much reason to be there. I think in terms of recommendations for if someone finds themselves in that situation, don't take it personally. Just don't even give it too much energy. Keep working hard and forget about it.
That's the best
It's
advice.
the advice that I would give. Yeah, for sure.
I think the greatest part about that advice is for me, for my daughters, it comes from someone who's doing it. They're living that life. They're actually making that happen. Whereas I'm always going to be like their biggest fan. I'm always going to tell them they can do it. But when they see others out there doing and they're busting ass and they're just really putting that time and effort in, that as a father, that makes me so happy that they have these role models to look up to.
Yeah, totally.
Some of my favorite photographers that I look up to are long gone, and you start reading the history of them and you learn about them as a person, and you're blown away because while they're known for the camera, the person they are is what builds them. And that's where I got kind of the idea for my show, right? I don't really talk camera gear. I don't talk camera brands. It happens. Like there's some people that have just a love. I love gear, but I don't want to talk about it,
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's more about sharing the journey and the story of you. And, you're like, oh, I got lucky. I flew into Hawaii and I found this job and it was great. And, where other people are like, yeah, I lived in a tent in the bushes for a year to find work.
Don't worry. There's always that as well.
Oh, for sure. I noticed, like, I'm looking at your Instagram and you're like living on a sailboat, like all of these little things. There's so many sacrifices that you make as a creative chasing this dream that a lot of people don't talk about,
Totally.
Eating ramen to buy the new lens or,
Oh yeah. Gotta love the ramen lifestyle.
Yeah. I wish I had a ramen lifestyle. I have the thing. I've been talking to my therapist about it, trying to figure out why I'm so overconfident in my abilities that I can convince myself I need everything. Like, I don't care how much it is. I can pay that off, no problem. And then, you're like, oh, it's a lot harder than I thought. But I'm so like, I have so much faith in what I can do in the world that I jump. I don't question it.
Yeah.
I just jump in. And, I'm, like I was mentioning before we started, I'm taking on the biggest personal project I've ever done. And I'm talking like, it's going to be a multi-year project. It's called the Photography Heals Your Soul Project. Yeah, that's what P.H.Y.S.
Cool.
That's what P.H.Y.S stands for. And basically, what I'm going to do is I'm doing a portrait project, but the portraits are of the creators behind the camera. So I will go and I will meet with the creator. I'm going to do this all over North America. So I'll go and meet the creator. I'm going to capture a candid portrait of the creator with a Harlow light. And then one of the big parts is the handoff of the light. So then I will give them my light and they'll turn and capture somebody else. So when they capture that person, it'll go into the book form where we'll have my photo, their photo, and then the description of
cool.
how we captured it.
Yeah, that's neat.
Along with short documentary out of each stop. So I will it'll all be recorded and we'll do a YouTube release and all of that. So it's really nerve-wracking to try to find financing, someone that's willing to help with the even travel expense.
Totally.
Because it's not cheap, as you know. I mean, you're shooting all over the place.
Well, I'm living like, okay. I call myself like a fake digital nomad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like when I live in these places, like I am not having a home base. It's kind of like I can choose to either have a lease and have a home base. And I definitely have done that for years and years and years. Or I can live how I've been living the last year and, have a home base in these different places throughout the year. So just to keep that story straight. Yeah, I don't have like a base back home and then I'm also like traveling. No, I just chose the traveling. I chose like the uncomfortable path.
Yeah.
And it's worked out decently so far.
But what that does is that just drives that fire and drives the spark to be creative and capture and share these moments around the world that people don't see. So
yeah, totally.
It's unbelievable. Like, congratulations on what you've built for yourself.
Thank you so much.
It's going to touch a lot of people. The more people that come across your work and they can see like, this is the hustle that's required, but it's worth it.
Totally. Yeah, it's totally worth it. If you're really into it. Otherwise, it's just uncomfortable and, maybe a more traditional path is like preferable for other people. So it really like depends on what you're looking for. Like I'm someone who loves to, I love to do like a van life trip or living on a sailboat is like one of the life highlights. I loved doing that. It's like a dream that I have again.
How long were you on the sailboat for?
That particular lease, it was in Los Angeles of all places. And that was only like a 4-month lease.
Yeah.
But it was a really great 4 months. Although it's in Los Angeles, so it wasn't exactly glamorous.
It'd be amazing to do it, off of Hawaii or Bali or someplace like that.
Yeah, one of those places. Yeah. Weirdly, like LA is one of the easiest places to get like a live aboard permit. Hawaii less so.
Yeah.
Or I'd be on a sailboat in Hawaii tomorrow. But for that lifestyle.
I've always I was an only child and I grew up on acreage. So, I always kept myself entertained. Right. And I got no problem sitting in the woods for a week at a time and just reading a book or, just relaxing. Doesn't affect me. So I could do it. There'd be some days, where you want to be out of it and you rent a hotel or, a Airbnb and enjoy the house life again. But
totally.
It's
good to have a balance.
Yeah. Where I live, I mean, it gets a little cold for a couple months in the winter, but other than that, it's decent weather. So it wouldn't be like, you're freezing. It's not like Alaska where, you know, it's super hot for 3 months of the year and then 9 months it's cold and snowy.
Yeah, totally. No, this you could survive that van life.
Oh, for sure. Do you have any words of wisdom for people listening?
Okay, words of wisdom. Oh yeah, going back to like female breaking into the industry, I'd say particularly for surf, like a great way to get into it is to become friends with the surfers. So, you know, I shoot with a lot of female surfers. You build like a natural friendship. Either one of you can get a brand deal and you work together on that. So definitely like build your community, make friends, shoot with your friends, and then just like keep a positive mindset as much as possible. It's energizing. It attracts a lot of nice situations. It helps you get through difficult times. So yeah.
I love it. And it's so true. Like that community, building that community is so important. And people need to just sit back and figure out what true community means. Everybody talks community. They talk about being authentic. They talk about all of these things. But when you look under that first layer of them talking about it, I don't think they really understand what it means to truly support the people that are around you and have those people support you.
Totally.
It's such an amazing feeling. Whenever I've been down on the show, like, you know, like, oh, I'm so burnt out. You know, you get emails from people who just started listening. Oh, hey, a friend told me I needed to listen to this episode. I just wanted to tell you, you changed my life today. What?
That's
what?
amazing.
What? Like, that's crazy. But that was the goal going from pretty much the beginning. Episode 4 is when I kind of came into this line of how I wanted to do things, was to get the message out there that, one, it's okay to not be okay. 2,
Yeah,
you don't
definitely.
have to be embarrassed to talk about your mental health. That's important. And 3, a therapist is probably one of the greatest things I've done. And I didn't get one until I was 49. And,
Oh yeah, therapy is incredible.
you know, with all of my traumas growing up and my bad lifestyle that I lived with my parents, or my dad, I need to be specific. My mom was amazing. I held on to that because I grew up in an era where I had to push everything down. I couldn't be emotional. I couldn't show weakness, you know. Kind of reminds me of like the Karate Kid when Cobra Kai is all like no mercy, you know, that kind of thing. That's how it felt growing up, is you couldn't show any weakness or mercy. You know, you had to be a certain way. And when I realized how awful and off that is for life, that's when I really started to live. And I spent 40 plus years living the same way. So when you have that moment of clarity, when you can sit there and you're like, I need to talk about what I've been through. I need to share what I've been through. And that's when I started the show and had a few episodes where all of a sudden I'm talking about my traumatic past growing up. And I'm like, holy cow, I just said that. Like, what's going on? And then you're worried when you release it, like, hey, are people going to be receptive to this? Or are people going to just, you know, push it off to the side like this is nonsense? And then when they're receptive, you're like, okay, now the next step, find a therapist. And then the next step is to help open doors for others to talk about it and start to teach what true authenticity and community is.
Yeah, totally. It's so important. I mean, everyone gets value out of hearing like people's struggles. We all have difficult things that we're facing. Some people obviously more than others, but it's just so important that that is part of the conversation. And therapy is incredible. Like if everyone in the world could have a therapist, I mean, yeah, that's an amazing thing. It's such an important tool. Mental health is like such an important part of the conversation. So yeah, really stoked that that's integrated into the podcast.
Yeah, and it was the perfect lead up to the next part of the show.
Yeah.
So for me, my photography, I've been on podcasts, and I always say the camera is my therapy. Whenever I've had mid 20 major concussions in my life. I know when I'm going to have a bad day from the minute I wake up, which is cool because I've been able to figure it out now. Or before, where I would just yell at everybody. I'd just be angry. And now when I wake up, I can look at my family and be like, hey, just so you know, it's going to be a day. And I can't do anything about it. My brain is damaged, and this is the way it works. But I feel like if I can now see when it's going to start and I can be preemptive, I can make a difference. And it's weird to say, but that therapy and releasing, finally talking about the traumas of my childhood has made a huge difference in my day-to-day life. It's like it let that tension out, and that tension is what was causing me to wake up, once or twice a month and just be angry. So it's kind of really cool. So I credit my camera with a lot. It's my therapist, it's my security blanket. I'm like Linus in the Peanuts. It goes with me everywhere. It's in my bag. Whether I shoot a photo or not, it's there. So my connection is when I'm having low mental health, I look at my creative outlet and I just go and I can take a photo of a garbage can chained to a wall, and that gives me just the feeling of calm. So where do you see your connection between your creativity and your mental health?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um, I have just like specific routines that I think keep everything in alignment. Um, and if I am having a bad day or if I'm going through a period of doubt, I just have to like increase those routines. And for me, that's mostly I go on like really long walks. Walking is just so helpful. If you want to work through a problem, oh my gosh, if you can go on a walk, it's such a gift you can give to yourself. So I do that. I journal and write obsessively. So that's how I'll work through a problem. I do a lot of creative writing, so it kind of merges. And then music, just like listening to music, dancing, great way to get out like tension or I mean like it's good. Have like a solo dance party every day if you can. That is a great way to just sort of release. Yeah, so I'd say like, yeah, music, writing, walks, meditation, and then being really patient with yourself. Like they're just, every 4 days or so, I know I'm not going to be productive at all. I don't fight it anymore. I just give in. I let myself have the rest day. I don't beat myself up for not being productive. And that has been like really helpful because then you don't have that guilt that you're putting onto yourself. So I think really just being patient and like forgiving with yourself, tuning in, meditating if you need to, positive self-talk, visualizations, really helpful. Yeah, so there are just a lot of tools that I use to try and stay positive. Because definitely, especially as a creative, there's going to be periods where like there feels like too much rejection or nothing's working out. I mean, that's life. We all go through periods of that all the time.
Yeah,
So it's just whatever tools work for you to kind of stay balanced. Obviously that's trickier for some of us than others, just on basic like on a
yep,
chemical level. So it's really whatever works for you that you can do to like for self-love.
100%. And that's another thing is being prescribed medication to help level you is not a bad thing. You need to be open.
Totally.
If you're struggling, you can be open to that,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like when I came out of the hospital, I'd never had high blood pressure in my life. And through the stress of it, my blood pressure was through the roof. So now I have to take blood pressure medication. Well, that made me depressed because I'm like, well, I've always been, in good standing. Now I'm like, it's really high. Like, what's going on? Why is this happening? So you start to beat yourself up over it. Like you can't fix it until you work through it. So then, they put me on antidepressant and it was great. And then it made me not feel anything in the world, which was weird because I care about everyone. So I've started to cut that back, and it's all a process. It's not magic. It's not instantly going to hit your body and be like, you know what, I'm fixed. There's a process
Totally.
and steps to it, but you have to be willing to share it and talk about it instead of worrying about the stigma. Somebody's going to think you're crazy because you're standing on, you're taking medication to help feel better.
Yeah, totally.
And that's
Yeah,
important.
we're all human and we all have Yeah, no, I think it's such an important part of the conversation because yeah, there shouldn't be any shame or stigma around what you need to do to help yourself
Hun-
and
hun-
and just like patience and self-love, especially when you're going through a tricky time like that, is just so vital to kind of move through it.
100%. I definitely, I definitely agree with everything you said about, finding the things that work for you. I love the water. So for me, if I go by a stream or the ocean or a lake or a river, I have to touch the water. I have to feel the water. My brain wants to know if it's warm or cold, but it's also, as my indigenous background, it's to thank the creator for giving us this to see and be a part of and share and try to keep for the future generations to see the amazingness that is in the outdoors. Right.
Totally.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's amazing.
yeah. So it's been a journey. But I love the fact now I share it with so many people who've been on the show, because no matter who we are, we all have so many similarities. You'll listen to people you think are fully established and comfortable in their career, and they're well put together. And then you start talking to them on here and you're having a great conversation. You get to this question and they just open up about their own stuff and their own struggles. And I love it because I really feel like it is going to catch somebody at that moment of their life. They think it's better to be gone, and they're going to hear it and they're going to be saved because these people shared truly in true, authentic words what they go through and how they deal with it. So that's my hope. I want to reach everybody and just let people know, like, it's okay to not be okay, but there's steps to get there.
Yeah, definitely. No,
So
that's really important. So yeah, I really appreciate that you're sharing that and bringing it to the forefront because the more it's normalized in conversation, um, yeah, that's just a really important thing.
yeah, thank you. That means a lot because I struggle still to this day with imposter syndrome, with, is this good enough? Am I wasting my time? I take a lot of time away from my family to do this. And, there's not just that. I do these during the week. I get up at 5 a.m. to record with people back east, and I'll record at 7 p.m. for people on the West Coast during the week to make sure that everybody's story is going to get shared. Because it doesn't matter if you've got, 30 million followers or 4 followers. Everybody's story is important.
Oh, definitely.
And everybody has been so open and willing to come on, especially after they listen to an episode and kind of get the vibe for the show, that it humbles me every day because I'm just a dude who had this dream 2 years ago to give a platform to share story and build communities and, meet great creatives like yourself. And it's like working.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that's incredible. In only 2 years. Yeah, you
Yeah.
already have done over 100, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have February 18th of 2026. I'm hoping to release the 104th episode.
Wow.
Not sure how I'm going to do it yet because I had that break we talked about, but I think I have enough. If I can get them edited, and I'm doing 5 days of Christmas, so the 20th to the 25th, there'll be a new episode every day
Oh, wow.
of follow-ups. So they're shorter episodes. So I do a follow-up with every person who's been on, because the story, you hear the story, you hear what they're doing,
Yeah.
like you're working on this documentary now, right? So I'll do a follow-up and I want to hear about that documentary, what happened to it, where to go, like where can people see it, like that little completion to what we talked about.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
Where a lot of interviews, they just stop there and you never hear from the person again.
I
So,
know that, yeah, that's the majority, I guess.
right. And I don't want it to be that way because I truly am trying to build a community of people that are helping each other. So, it'll be like 6 or 7 months and I'll be like, hey, how's that project going? And then you'll be like, oh yeah, it's finished. We're doing this, this, and this. Cool. Like, let's record a 30-minute follow-up. And let's
Yeah,
just
cool.
talk about where it's going to be, what you're going to do, what it's for, like how it's progressing your career, things like that. And then at least people get that closure because they're all going to wonder, you know?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, everyone on this earth has such an interesting story to share.
Yeah.
So it is so cool to like hear the process and then loop back. And yeah, that's pretty amazing, those updates.
Because I always wonder, like I love certain podcasts and I'll listen to them and I hear this great book or whatever they're doing. So I'll go 6 months later looking for the book and there's no mention of it anywhere. And then,
Yeah.
you know, page 9 in Google search, you find the book and it's the small publisher released it and there's no fanfare and there's no marketing or anything for it. So I want to know why that is, because hearing their passion for what they were doing inspired me and I was super excited for them. So now, like, why am I not hearing from them that it's out? Why is nobody sharing this information? So that's kind of like, after this one, I'm recording a follow-up with a friend of mine from New Orleans. So it's really cool to have these little follow-ups because I've watched his career over the last, man, I think we recorded 8 months ago, and his career has just blown up. You know, he's had the Wu-Tang Clan, like Raekwon from the Wu-Tang Clan have used his photos, like thanked him. Like,
Oh, that's so sick.
incredible. Well, I don't know. There's this video on TikTok. So it's New Orleans, Wu-Tang Clan's on stage. There's a sign language lady who's like going crazy and dancing in the front, and Method Man stops and he's looking at her and he's getting into it. He's like, holy cow, this is amazing. That's my friend.
That's so rad.
That's my friend Larry's video. It's gone viral.
Oh, wow.
So,
oh, cool.
And he just did it because he was there. But now, like, he's worked with Raekwon. They flew him out to Vegas to shoot a show.
Stop. That is wild.
Right? Like,
that's amazing.
And he got it just because they remembered him from that Method Man video.
Wow.
And then he's got his own unique style. So he throws out these incredible images. Right? So, like, everything is possible if we believe enough in our own abilities and ourselves.
That is so true. That is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to believe it, because just the belief and the vision really can be enough to make it happen, in addition to luck. I don't want to leave out luck. I don't want to leave out privilege. Yeah. Those are all part of the picture as well.
Yep.
But yeah, if you believe in it, you can like create like magic to make it happen.
And do projects for yourself. Create some amazing project for yourself and just share it. Because you will find your people, you will find your group who fall in love with what you do. And that is the start to achieving the goals and dreams you put out.
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, like right now I'm working on a project for myself. And I think when you're starting off as a creative, you think, oh, maybe I'll get hired for this job, or you have to create the opportunity. So whatever interests you, just go after it, shoot it, whatever you're working on as a creative, make it happen for yourself. And bringing like that project to life can bring so many opportunities that you never imagined existed.
I couldn't have said it better myself. You know what, Megan, it's been amazing to meet you today.
Yeah, likewise.
Big fan of your career. I will be cheering you on. I can't wait to see where you go from here. I'm looking forward to hearing about this documentary and when it's out, and where's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, totally. So I think the best place for people to find me right now is Instagram, Megan Costello photo. My website's in the bio. And then I had a bit of a career pivot. I'm working on launching my first mobile app. So that should definitely be out by the time this podcast is over.
So I meant to jump into that. I apologize. I had it in my brain, but we had some technical difficulties this morning because I decided that my microphone shouldn't work properly. It's called Sunwaves Creative, right? Or Sunwaves
so
HQ?
Sunwaves Creative is just a creative marketing agency that I've been working on for the last few years. but Sunwaves is taking on a new life of its own. It's going to be a mobile app for content creators that will be up on the App Store probably within the next couple weeks, but hard launching in January. So by the time this is out, the app will be live and hopefully 100% bug-free by then.
It's a lot of work, I hear.
It's a lot of work, particularly if you've never developed an app or, it's a lot of trial and error, but it's rewarding and it's kind of nice because photography, it's nice. Photography is a really great career, but it can be nice to have something in conjunction with it.
Multiple
Because
revenue streams.
freelancing, yeah, just exactly. Freelancing can be difficult. So it's helpful to, always have multiple revenue streams. So yeah, this is the new thing.
Nice. So what is the basis of the app?
Yeah, so it's an app that is like connecting content creators. So it's sort of two-part. Content creators, like influencers, can meet up and shoot with each other, or you can hire photographers and other content creators to shoot for you. So basically, it's just an app to facilitate the making of social media content.
That's super cool.
There'll be a lot of like photographers on there that you can hire directly for, I don't know, influencer photos, or even just to create you like a YouTube video on vacation or whatnot.
Wow, that's going to be, and it's going to be available worldwide. It's going to work in every place.
So far, for starters, it's going to be available in the US and Canada, and then expanding to Europe and Australia. I'd say probably by February. I'm assuming when this is out, it should be available in at least like North America, Europe, and Australia.
Nice.
Kind of navigating the hoops that you have to go through to have it live everywhere. You need like pretty different policies for different countries.
Yeah.
So just kind of like learning as I go. But yeah, stoked. I think that'll be my first of a few mobile apps. So if we do a follow-up, hopefully there's a second one in the works.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that. I know that's a ton of work. That is something that you should be very proud of, that you have that happen. When you do a launch on it, so January is going to be the launch?
Yeah, mid-January, going to do a hard launch. Right now, working on getting it onto the store and doing a soft launch with more beta users, so that when there's a hard launch in January, there are actually people to connect with on the app. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I'm hoping that will be a really great space for just connecting people because, at least I came up with the idea because I was in Australia and I had a great idea for a photo shoot and couldn't think of like anyone that I could have, I didn't know who I could hire or friends that I could like just ask, or I didn't want to bother them and say, could you come like shoot with me for half an hour? So this is to kind of like create a space for that. So
I'm so behind that. And I think that will help, try to establish community work between so many people. Because, it's that whole, like, I help you, you help me, let's build. And
yeah,
excuse me, you just don't know how many, people could work together and that could turn into some kind of business where they're working together all the time. And that's just what's so amazing about what we do.
totally. Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I even often have trouble finding like a second shooter out of the blue. So it's just nice to kind of bridge that gap and have some more community to reach out to.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Most of my stuff requires just me. So
that's so nice.
The one part of the
great.
thing on the project that I'm doing that wasn't supposed to happen is I've decided to shoot the whole thing on a Leica Q 28mm lens. So a 10-year-old camera, one lens, fixed lens, can't change it. That every photo that goes onto this from me will be captured on this with a backup on a medium format Hasselblad film camera. So
oh, that's so cool.
And yeah, maybe once I'm in Hawaii or an area you're close to, we'll get you involved in the book as well.
Yeah, would love that. I can't wait to see that project because that'll be really interesting. And you really don't see much of that at all. So there's a lot of stories to tell.
Well, I don't know what time it is there, but it's 10:30 in the morning here. It's time for breakfast, so
Go for it. You got to do it. Yeah, it's like 6:30. I'm jet lagged, but I might go shoot Nazare tomorrow. So I guess I'll be getting up in approximately 9 hours.
Well, I appreciate your time, Megan. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and, sharing what your future holds. And I look forward to watching you continue to grow.
Yeah, likewise. Really loved connecting and really loved hearing about your projects as well. And yeah, really stoked to hear what's in store and keep an ear out for other podcasts that are coming up.
Awesome. Well, enjoy your evening and we'll chat again shortly.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thanks, Tyson. Enjoy your breakfast. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the P.H.Y.S Podcast. If this conversation inspired you, taught you something, or made you see the world a little differently, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Follow us on all social medias at P.H.Y.S_podcast to stay connected with future episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and the growing creative community around the show. And remember, as always, photography heals your soul. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.